In a week where political debate has been dominated by the question of political extremism, BBC Question Time decided to invite Melanie Phillips on their show. Yes, that's the same Melanie Phillips who demanded that Barack Obama explain when and why he renounced Islam. Obama was never, in fact, a Muslim. It's also the Melanie Phillips who declared in the Jewish Chronicle that Islamophobia was a bogus label. And it's the Melanie Phillips who, for decades, argued that climate change was a hoax. Anyway, this is what happened on Question Time with Melanie Phillips when the topic of Gaza came up.
I live mainly in Israel. I come here a great deal. I am British. I will always be British. And it is a tragedy beyond measure that so many decent people, well-meaning people in Britain, have got this completely the wrong way around. What's happening in Gaza is indeed a tragedy. War is terrible. Civilians are killed. But what Stephen has just said is so distorted and so untrue. Let me just take you through one or two points that he has said.
That's cool.
He says that the Gazans are being denied by Israel access to food and humanitarian supplies.
Yes.
This is completely untrue. There have been hundreds and hundreds of trucks going through Gaza. There have been hundreds of trucks stopped by from going through Gaza because the food is being stolen by Hamas. The Gazans themselves are saying this. You laugh because you don't know. I am telling you.
But hang on. Melanie, in fairness, the UN says that not enough trucks are being allowed in and that children are dying of starvation. You've got UNICEF saying children are dying of starvation.
The UN has had its own operatives in UNRWA, the Relief and Welfare Organization, who are members of Hamas, dozens and dozens of them. They are entirely compromised.
OK, so Melanie, I'll let you speak, I promise. But just to be clear what you're saying, when you've got the WHO and the UN and the EU humanitarian chiefs saying there is famine in Gaza, you're saying that's not true.
You can go on YouTube and see pictures of the stocked food markets in Gaza. Why are you laughing?
Because
have you seen
outrageous.
Them? Have you
Why
seen
they're laughing?
them?
Actually,
have you seen these
Melanie,
video pictures?
I have looked at some of them. They don't have timestamps on them. I've got to point that out. So I don't know when these pictures were taken.
OK.
I mean, if you have proof that they were taken in the last October.
If you want to look at pictures, Melanie, I'm quite happy to send you some pictures and videos of
the
civilians being bombed and slaughtered at the hands of...
Let's let Melanie make it.
That was Melanie Phillips telling the audience to ignore the World Health Organization and to ignore the United Nations because she's seen some pictures on YouTube. The SNP's Stephen Flynn then offered to show her some other pictures, and if he ever got the chance, I'm not sure he did, he could have done well to show her these.
Tiny limbs, bones protruding. The constant sound of crying from children now facing starvation in Gaza. In this overrun hospital ward, anxious mothers watch on as doctors provide whatever care they still can. But for some, there is nothing more to be done. 3-year-old Mila, who had been suffering from acute malnutrition, now another victim of this merciless war. She was healthy. There was nothing wrong with her before, Mila's mother says. Then suddenly, everything dropped. She wasn't eating anything. We had no milk, no eggs, nothing. She used to eat eggs every day before the war, but now we have nothing. Across Gaza, too many are feeling the pain of this deepening hunger crisis. Small children, emaciated and malnourished. These were little Yazan's final moments, his tiny fingers gripped in his mother's hand. He, like Mila, would not make it. Others are still just barely holding on, but there is no telling how long they will survive. Standing beside Mila's body, Dr. Ahmed Salem says many children at this hospital are now dying due to a lack of food and oxygen supplies.
We showed you those images last week. We showed you a bit more of that CNN report. Incredibly powerful, tragic, infuriating, horrifying report, right? Of kids currently starving, right? They could be living decent lives, but Israel has decided that they want to carry out a genocidal war, has stopped any food getting in. But Melanie Phillips has seen a YouTube video where there are some stocked shops. Now, these videos don't have any timestamps, as was made clear by Fiona Bruce, the host of Question Time. And also, 2 million people live in Gaza. If it does happen that there is one shop which is fully stocked, that doesn't mean that there won't be people dying of starvation, as we know there are in Gaza, right? So how you can possibly go on national television and say, the way she said that, you laugh because you don't know, and then her evidence countering the World Health Organization, countering the United Nations, countering horrific images like those that the whole world can see, is that she's seen a picture on YouTube. So knowingly or not, Melanie Phillips told an ill-informed lie, which, if people believe her, if they believe the lie, could cost lots of lives, right? If people believe Melanie Phillips that there isn't famine conditions in Gaza, then they are more likely to believe the Israelis, to not apply pressure on their governments to help resolve this or to stop supporting Israel to carry out this genocidal war. If they believe her, it's very possible that will, directly lead to more kids dying, right? This is what misinformation can do. And it wouldn't be the first time that Melanie Phillips has told dangerous untruths from the Question Time platform. This was from an appearance in 2013.
There is no evidence for global warming. That is to say, there is no evidence. Wait, please. I know that you are an audience of open minds. You've already showed it so this
Melanie Phillips, come to the point and get on with it, would you please? Because then we can have other people involved in the discussion.
Let me tell you that the seas are not rising any more than is in any way out of the ordinary. The ice is not decreasing, it is increasing. The polar bears are increasing in number, and the temperature is going down, not up.
As late as 2022, Melanie Phillips was claiming in the Times that climate change was bogus. Now, I can't imagine there are many climate change deniers in our audience, but in case you've randomly found us, you're very welcome. Whatever your views, you're very welcome. This is my favorite chart showing the reality of the situation. It's from the University of Reading and has a bar for each year between 1850 and the present day, showing how temperatures differed in that year from the average between 1971 and the year 2000. As you can see, it's been getting consistently warmer since 1900, and temperatures have absolutely rocketed since 2000. Climate change very much exists. That was clear to everyone in 2013. It was even clearer to everyone in 2022, but Melanie Phillips doesn't seem to have much relationship to the truth, no matter how serious the issue she decides she is qualified to talk on. David, as an American, you might have until now been spared the knowledge of Melanie Phillips' existence. Do I have to apologize for introducing you to her, or did you have prior knowledge of this woman?
Michael, my mother is a divorce lawyer. Professionally, she divorces people. What I learned from her practice, from these acrimonious divorces, is that both sides of divorce think that they're right. That no one who's leaving their partner and trying to enter into that mortal battle in a divorce thinks that actually the other person was the right person and they're the bad one. And so what I learned is that everyone puts their head on the pillow at night, telling themselves some story in which they are the good ones and everyone else is the bad ones. The things that they said and did that day were justified, rationalized, if not outright righteous. The thing with Melanie Phillips, I wonder, what is the story that this person can tell themselves, looking back on these clips over so many years of public deception, in this case, of genocidal deception, that she can put her head on the pillow at night and say, I've done well today. And this is where my faith in humanity has been strained to its breaking point in the past months and weeks. The clips you played, almost brought me to tears, as they always do, these starving children, and the knowledge that we, sitting here in respective capitals, have the power to save those children. and yet we are determined not to do so. And how these people that we call our fellow citizens can go to bed in the evenings and look at themselves in the mirror in the mornings and live with themselves, I just struggle to understand.